I think one of the things, again, I just emphasize I'm not a lawyer, but keep in mind that this is a civil proceeding, not a criminal proceeding. So the standards are very different in our criminal justice system. And I think that is a very big difference, that you don't have to have a preponderance of guilt in the civil realm as you do in the criminal. And so that is a big difference. In the criminal, you have to have a unanimous, and I think the civil is just a majority. So it's a very different standard. It is New York, which isn't exactly the friendliest of venues for President Trump. So again, I think I'm reading this as I'm listening to this and evaluating it as you're reading it out. It's never a good thing to have a verdict against you. I mean, let's be clear, especially of this nature. But I think when it came to the big charge that you're referring to, that would have probably not gone over very well on the campaign trail. And I think that's the bigger issue, is that optics do matter in politics. But I think if you're President Trump right now, you're probably resting easy when it came to the charge of rape would have stung a lot.
I'm sure you're not implying that the charge of sexual assault won't sting. And I do get, Sean, you're pointing out the differences between criminal and civil, and this is a civil case. No criminal charges have been brought. But this was a jury of 6 men and 3 women who unanimously agreed that it was more likely than not that he had sexually abused someone. I mean, if you were still his press secretary going to the podium, would you be trying to defend him right now?
Well, again, I mean, to be blunt, I mean, you're asking a job of a press secretary would be to defend your client. Now, so from what your question is, would you be trying to defend them? That's the job of a press secretary for a principal. I think so. Let's be honest about the job of the person.
There's technicals there about how I worded the question. I mean, I guess the point is, he's lost a trial. It was a civil one, not a criminal one, but there were 6 men and 3 women who unanimously agreed to this verdict. I'll put it a different way. Would you struggle to work for him still? Would you resign instead of defending him if he told you to do that?
Well, look, Wilford, as I just said, look, I'm literally hearing this as you're reading it. So the first thing I would do is get all the facts, and I would try to understand what the nature of it was. I honestly, as an American that has heard about this for a while, wasn't even aware that this was one of the charges that was available. So I didn't even know that. My understanding from the American media was this was entirely a case about rape. I didn't know that this was a charge that was even available to the jury. So I would be asking lawyers what this means. What the difference between the 2 charges were in terms of what the legal ramifications were and what the judge's orders were. But I mean, the first thing would be to do exactly what I'm doing now, which is to understand the nature of the law, because I don't know it and I'm hearing it as you're putting it out. Okay.
I mean, it's sexual assault and it's $5 million of damages. So I don't know. Exactly.
But again, I think I've made clear it is never a good thing. So I just want to be clear on that. I'm not in any way trying to dismiss the severity of a charge. There is a difference in our judicial system between civil and criminal. I am not a lawyer. I don't know the difference in the nature between them. You're asking me what I would do. And my answer to you would be that I would try to understand the difference between the 2 in terms of the legality of it before I would answer the question. But from an optics standpoint, of course it doesn't look good.
Yeah. I mean, they're both illegal and they're both immoral and they're both wrong. But anyway, let's just switch focus a little bit, because I'm interested in how you think all of this plays, because clearly anything seems to bounce off him of late. And how do you think, leading up to this case, it was being framed as a witch hunt perhaps at times against him? Does the verdict change that significantly now, do you think? Did he need to be cleared for this to continue down the path of many framing this as political motivations, or do you still believe that there are political motivations?
Well, I think, as you said at the outset, I mean, President Trump has been, over not just the last couple of years, but frankly the last couple of decades, been attacked politically for several different things, and it's always bounced off of him. So I don't know that this will have any difference on him. We'll have to wait and see. But I also think that the way that the district attorney went after President Trump several weeks ago has tainted the process against him. He has been able to say going forward, you see, these folks are after me writ large. And I think that defense, because of the nature of the way that the district attorney in New York went after President Trump, I think that that might taint the entire system going forward and make his claim that this is, quote, a political witch hunt have a lot more resonance.
But would you personally reject that, given that we've reached a point where this... So I'm not trying to be tricky here. I'm genuinely just thinking of that as interested that we've now reached a point where this was a unanimous decision by 9 members of a jury. So even if the motivations to get to the point of a court case, if that's what you're saying, have political motivations, we've got 9 members of a jury who unanimously have decided something here.
No, 9 members of a civil case made a decision. And again, as I stated at the outset, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm hearing it from you at the time. I don't make decisions like that, and I would caution anybody who is being asked a question like this to actually get the facts and understand them before they make it, because you've used words like illegal, and it's not a court of law, it's a civil case. And so that's my point, is that when you throw around words like that and mislead audiences, that's part of the problem. So what I would urge people to do is to get facts and then make a decision before they make snap decisions about their interpretation of what was said or done or decided. And that's what I will do as a citizen.